Responsible lending obligations have just been axed recently and will take effect in March 2021. But what does this mean for you, the average Joe or Joanne? Responsible lending obligations were originally introduced for the consumer. They were there so that consumers don't make poor financial decisions. So what happened was banks took a lot of factors into consideration, such as different types of income, different types of expenses, and a plethora of factors, just to see if you are suitable for this product or not. The whole point of this was essentially make sure you don't default or put yourself in a poor financial situation. Just in September, this has been axed. And now some of you may be saying that, oh, this is a bad thing, it should have happened. But I, on the contrary, disagree. I think this is actually a good thing, a really good thing as a matter of fact. And I'll explain why in just a second. But without getting too technical, let me explain what's happened. The government's announcement suggests that the consumer is shifting from a seller aware to a buyer beware market. And this has caused a lot of outcry and outlash from consumer advocacy groups because the onus falls more towards the consumer rather than the financial institution. This law had originally been introduced post-GFC or global financial crisis, where the majority or the main reason for the housing crash was simply due to lenders, or 80% of lenders, offering no-doc loans. So no-doc loans, you can pretty much think of it as in the name, no-doc. So loans requiring no documentation. Not even low doc where you have low documentation, just no doc. So you can declare, yep, I make X amount, and they just gave you money. That's how insane this was. And imagine 80% of lenders doing that. So 80% of the banks doing that. And that's what led to be a major contributor to the housing crash in 2009. Luckily in Australia, we only have 4 lenders that give no-doc loans from the top of my head out of 420 plus lenders. But even they have strict criteria that they must adhere to. Luckily, Australia won't face this issue in the future with no-doc loans, just like how, America tackled this, which is quite poorly. I'll now explain why I, on the contrary, like these laws being axed. The first reason is simple. More people can get into the property market. If you can borrow more, even just slightly more, then that will tremendously help you out getting that property. A second reason is that, besides that, just for first home buyers, even people can buy more investment properties. It's just a fantastic offer overall. Some of you may be disagreeing with me, saying, well, Mihir, I understand what you're saying, but shouldn't there be any protection in place for the consumer? And yes, I agree with you. In fact, in the year of 2021, there's going to be 2 new prominent protections taking place. The first one starts off from the 1st of January 2021, where mortgage brokers will have to act in the best interest for their client under the Credit Act. And we've had something like this in the past, but now the difference between the past one and the present one is that they're trying to cement this even more and trying to take emphasis away from the financial institutions and more towards the actual individuals, so the mortgage broker. The second effect that's taking place in 2021 is from October 2021, where banks and financial institutions will have to design and create products that cater the average Australian populace, or basically fits everyone's needs. And they look into 3 things. The first is simply the likely objectives of the consumer. The second is the financial position. And third, it is their needs, so the needs of the consumer. Overall, I honestly think this is a win for everyone. And for the people still saying that, oh, what about protections for the consumers? I've already mentioned that there's 2 main prominent ones taking into account next year. But even besides that, like, the person they're lending money to is over 18. So sir or ma'am, when will the individual start taking responsibility for his life and his actions? Because they're already a grown adult. You know the type of business you're getting into when you're getting money from the bank, you're borrowing money. If they cannot see that, oh, my loan, my mortgage is X amount, yet my income is so low, and why would they get it? When will the individual take responsibility for their actions? Why should everyone suffer for the mistakes and the cost of few? That's what I'm trying to get at. With this, many first home buyers, or basically anyone who's been gradually trying to save a deposit, little by little, and it just keeps falling short, they will have access to the property market as they can slightly borrow more. Those people, will be good for them. The people who are responsible and take care of their money and are hard workers, it will be good for those individuals. Simple as it is, because they can borrow more and they can finally achieve what they wanted to achieve. Simple as that. And this also helps aid the economy, which is another win. So overall, this is quite a good move. The people that are benefiting the most will be self-employed people, business owners, and contract workers. Simply because financial institutions governing the banks, they don't really like income that's volatile. They prefer a pay-as-you-go employee with 2 years tax return, because his or her income will always remain consistent. Whereas with business owners or just self-employed individuals, your income can be this 1 year and it could be just this the other year, because it's quite volatile and they don't like that. So this demographic will benefit the most. But even everyone else will benefit in regards to a little bit of borrowing capacity, but these guys will have a significant difference in regards to that. You now may be saying, well, Mihir, okay, I understand your contention and your viewpoint, but what if people just start over defaulting out of nowhere because they over borrowed and over exerted what they could have done? Well, hypothetically, let's get straight into that situation. So let's hypothetically evaluate this question. So firstly, I'm just going to clear this up from the get-go. Just because Melbourne is a city doesn't mean that it's a property market itself. Within Melbourne, there's 8 property markets, if you consider like north, south, east, west, blah, 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 Bayside, right? Because if you said Melbourne as a whole property market, you're comparing a suburb. If you live in Melbourne, there's something like Melton against Kew, Balwyn, Toorak. Melton will be like $500,000, $600,000, whereas Balwyn and Kew, they're easily above 1 million. They're going to like 1.5, maybe 2 million easily. So I mean, they're like, you know, completely different properties, completely different demographics, and completely different demand. So it's like comparing an apple to a lemon. It just doesn't work. You know what I mean? This brings me to my second point. The people most affected by this will be the people that have low disposable income. And where do these people reside? Further out. And where are these further out places? Growth corridors. So you got like Cranbourne, you got like Officer, Clyde, you got like places really further out. I can't even remember the names. But basically those people will be affected. But let me just get this straight by this, okay? Just because these laws are being axed doesn't mean someone can just walk in and just borrow $1 million. It will slightly improve your borrowing capacity. That's what I'm just trying to get at, all right? To wrap this video up, Cranbourne used to be considered a suburb really far away in the mystical jungles. And to be honest, it is quite far. It's like 40k from the cities. However, due to the property prices surging, even for Cranbourne, it's still surging. More and more young people are getting marginalized and they're getting pushed out to places such as Officer because that's what they can find affordable. By axing these laws, we can give those first home buyers just a little bit glimmer of hope as they can borrow more and they need less of a deposit. And, you know, and at the same time, even besides that fast, it makes the whole banking process much smoother, meaning your credit application and a plethora of other things could be processed significantly faster, which also results in you having to do less paperwork. How good is that? Now, I'm officially wrapping up this video. Please let me know your thoughts down below. Comment below what you think, whether you agree with me, whether you disagree, whether you like the video, whether you hate it, any criticisms. Besides that, if you enjoy these type of videos, please consider subscribing. And please like the video if you actually liked it. Besides that, thank you for watching. Have a great day. Goodbye.